So hi, my name is Cujo. I bought a Shure microphone, so hopefully my audio quality is a little bit better. This mic is very nice from the tests that I've done with it, so hopefully this turns out okay. I'm actually holding the mic in my hand right now, so hopefully the audio quality isn't too bad. I've been reading a book called The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin has been a producer for a lot of big bands. The notable ones I know of is the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Beastie Boys. But from reading the book, he has a very insightful approach to the creative process and just has a lot of good insights on what the creative process entails. There's a chapter where he talks about getting into kind of a box with your creativity, and we can end up just kind of creating the same things over and over. So I kind of wanted to just give you some of the stuff that I learned from reading this chapter and maybe help you kind of shake up your creativity a little bit. A couple reasons for doing this is you could end up getting stuck in a project and not knowing where to take it, or you could just be bored of your process and want to try something a little bit different. So I have some suggestions for you to try. Feel free to write these down. Hopefully you can take away something that helps you. So one thing you can do is take small steps towards a project every day. A challenge that you can give yourself is to just write one aspect of a song progressively each and every day. He talks about in this how you can get a singer or a rapper to just write one line a day, and sometimes this process ends up kind of churning out a song fairly slowly but consistently instead of not just working on the song at all. Normally I think this process can kind of get you through a rut, and then out of nowhere you will start writing bar after bar or lyric after lyric. It's almost kind of like clearing out a blockage of sorts, and then it comes flowing through. But that's one thing you can do, is just to challenge yourself to write one thing a day. Another thing you can do is change your environment. You can completely change where you're recording at, which, speaking of, I'm going to end up moving my computer and the thing that I'm recording on into an entirely different room. And so I'm thinking it's going to switch up my creative process just a little bit. But changing your environment, surprisingly, actually makes a huge difference. A lot of writers actually tend to go from their houses into nature just to be inspired by nature. And you can do that with anything. You can go into the city. Just different places will, I think, inspire you in ways that you wouldn't expect. So you could try changing your environment. You can change the stakes. So instead of actually changing your external environment, you can change the gravity of what you're making in the interior of your mind. What I mean by that is, say you sit down to make something and then you visualize yourself doing this for the last time. This is going to be the last thing that you ever create. Some people, this can actually inspire them quite a bit, but for others it might be too much pressure and actually force them to shut down if they go in with that mental note. And sometimes you can actually just put a lot less pressure on yourself and just tell yourself you're going to sit down and just have fun and just enjoy what you're making and not put any expectation on yourself of what's going to come of it. Maybe switching up the approach on how you're doing it mentally can entirely change your creative process. That's something you could try, is changing the stakes for yourself. You could invite an audience. Now, I say that, and I'm a person that likes to create in private. Whenever I've mixed songs or shown songs to people, I actually find myself noticing stuff when I'm showing them the song that I didn't notice before when I was recording it or when I was working on the song that I could change. So when you're showing someone, it's actually more so for what you pick up when you're listening to it with them. So depending on if you invite an audience to watch you record in the studio, it might make you overperform, or it might make you perform for people just right. You might do it better alone. Your process is entirely yours, but maybe inviting an audience will help you in your creative process. It's something to consider. You could also change the context. You could change what the meaning of the song is while writing it to you. When I made Nightmare in Dreamland with Jupilux, I actually went in with the intention of making it just a funk song about playing Melee. It ended up turning into a song talking about dealing with heartbreak and this guy kind of playing around with her and her being heartbroken over this guy. When I made it, I didn't have that intention, but a lot of people who've listened to the song actually took that away, and I think that is what the true meaning of the song is. When I was writing it and when I was making the song, that wasn't my intention at all. A little insider info for you there, but There you go. Another thing you can do is alter the perspective. So most of the time I like to mix with my headphones pretty loud. That's just always how I've liked listening to music, is at max volume. Either extremely quiet and in the background or in your face. But sometimes when mixing a song, I can make the song a bit quieter, and changing the perspective of the song in my headphones or on my monitors can actually point out different things to me in the mix and create different emotions. So this can apply to anything. I just like to use music as an example because it's my art form, but maybe you could do, if you're an artist, a painter, you could do a different brush technique, use different brushes, different sizes of canvases. Like, there's so many ways you can just switch things up. You could paint it from one angle only. There's really no rules, only the ones that you create for yourself. You can write for someone else. Sometimes when I make music, I actually pretend to be another person. This I picked up from Grimes. I don't know if I'll be able to find a clip where she talked about this, but there's been more than a few songs where I made it pretending to be the person that I was thinking of, and I ended up with a completely different sound than if I were to make it a certain way. You could also write a song intended for someone who isn't like you too. When I say that, I make a lot of hip hop, but say I were to try to write a song, like an R&B song for a female singer, that would be a completely different ballpark for me, but I think it would bring up different aspects of creativity for me that I think would improve all my art forms, whether it be like videos or music. You'd be surprised at how much all this stuff ties together. Dude, this mic is freaking heavy. Oh my god. And like I say, these are just things to kind of shake up your creativity. They don't have to be good when you're doing them. It's just to kind of experiment with whatever you're making as an art form. Another thing you can do is add imagery. So this is very helpful if you're a painter. When game creators hire people to make a soundtrack, they tend to send them art of the game for the scenes that they want them to make music for. When they give imagery to a musician, it allows the music to speak through them in a way when they see the imagery. Sometimes when you imagine something, you're able to capture that emotion through the music when you create it. So you might need to paint a picture for yourself, maybe in a literal sense or a metaphorical sense. And say you're like in a battle with like 3,000 people, you're the only one, you're like the main anime character. Like, how are you going to make a painting or a soundtrack for that? And sometimes that will really inspire you to create a piece of art that will capture that emotion. So imagery, I think, will help you a lot, but maybe it's something you try. The next one I have is limit the information that you have. Sometimes going into a project, you really want to go in with the bare bones of barely knowing how it's going to end up. Say you make music and I just gave you the name of a random genre. I'm going to make one up right now. I told you to make me hyperpop twerk music. Only off of the name, what would you create? I hope that there's someone out there that actually makes hyperpop twerk. That would be hilarious, dude. But if you can limit the information that you take in, it kind of allows your imagination to run with it. And if you follow it, you can end up creating something that's different from everything else, and maybe even like stuff that you normally make. So there's a suggestion for you. These things that you can do are not things that are set in stone. At any point, if you feel like the experimentation or the quote-unquote rule set doesn't help your art in any way, then like Rick Rubin says in his book, you don't have to keep applying them, and you can go to something you're familiar with, or you can try something else. It really is just a form of expression, but to me, I think art is about learning about the world and really trying to express yourself in some form with experimentation. So if you listen to a lot of my music, you can probably pick that up. Hopefully this video helps you in some way. Maybe watching it inspired you to try something a little bit different. I think he said even in this chapter that some singer hung themselves upside down and then recorded in front of the mic, which that was like a really funny visual to me. I couldn't imagine like trying to do like a rap song upside down in front of the mic. I would run out of breath so fast. But that would come out with its own sound. So just go experiment with your art. Have fun. Be a kid. Be a kid again. Or if you're a kid, just keep being a kid. Life's fun, dude. Just do whatever you want. It's art. You should enjoy making it. You should make it fun for yourself. Anyway, hopefully that helps you with your art. I'm going to kind of keep setting up this new studio stuff that I have. So, thank you for watching my video, and goodbye now. Dude, that mic is so good. What the fuck?